in the world did we end up here? I'm going.
No, you're not going. You're going to stay here.
We just keep hurting each other over and over and over again. What?
I said you're going to stay right here.
Do not touch my stuff. It's like we're speaking different languages. I can't understand him. He never understands me. Everything is lost in translation. I never wanted to be that woman. You know the type, the see you next lifetime sister in her own personal Erykah Badu video. I'm a good wife, and I have a good husband. I mean, yeah, it's our anniversary, but it's my class reunion too. Just because he has to work, I'm not supposed to go? Why are we fighting about this? It's gotta be something else. Okay, so maybe I am a Renaissance woman. I can't help it that I have goals and ambitions. I mean, I was never going to be the traditional spouse. Ever. But he knew that when he married me. This was ideal. I wasn't going to cook every day, but when I did, I'd throw down. I'll keep the house neat, but we'll certainly need to keep the number to our local maid service on hand. And sex, that was never an issue. My body is truly his playground, and I don't mind that one bit. Yet despite all the back-bending gymnastics I've done to keep my marriage together, we're barely holding on. And now, ironically, I find myself here with you.
Audrey?
August. How have you been?
Life is life, you know. How about you?
I'm well.
Yes. Yes, you are. It's like you haven't aged at all.
You know.
Wow. You want to have a seat?
Sure. It feels like I'm back in high school with him again. If only things could be that easy.
Here you are.
Thank you.
Old time's sakes.
Old times.
It's pretty good.
It is good.
So...
Stop. Wait. I know this man does not think I'm going to sit here and talk about my marriage, my child, any of that. I've probably said too much already. I need this part of the conversation to be over as fast as possible. Thank you, Lord.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Did you hear that? That's our song.
Song.
You remember when I came out?
Yes.
Oh my God, you wanna dance? Come
No,
on.
no.
You gotta dance.
No.
Come on. You gotta dance.
Oh no. I knew it would not be that easy.
Some things I want to ask. Feel me? Will you love me? Will you let me be your fantasy? Will you hold me? Will you stay with me forever? Forever, baby. Can you feel me? Will you love me? Will you let me be your fantasy? Will you hold me? Will you stay with me forever? Can't believe that you're real, not an illusion. Gonna treat you right, no more games, no confusion. Finest thing that my eyes have ever seen. Gonna serve you hand and foot the way I should, cause you're my queen. I'm feeling you, and I know you're digging me, so I'm down on one knee asking.
Your friends just had to ruin our signature. They always got something to say.
Man, listen, I don't care what JB and them gotta say. You're forever my lady. Audrey, listen. You are beautiful. What do I always say? Nothing can separate us. We will always know each other. That's right. And I mean that. We will always know each other.
Forever and a day, won't you stay with me? Yeah. Will you love me? Will you love me? For the rest of your life, yeah.
Looks like the party's over.
Looks like it.
It was really good to see you again, Audrey.
Likewise. Take care of yourself, okay?
Indeed.
Bye.
Bye. I really missed the boat, huh?
Maybe a little bit.
I have no doubt that letting you go was the biggest mistake that I've ever made. This is real crazy.
But is it real or just nostalgia?
It feels real. I know. I know. I know. Remember, A? We'll always know each other, right?
Bye. My granny used to say something I don't think I've ever forgotten. She used to say, "Baby girl, when you're done, be done." Going back to an old flame is like reading the same book over and over again and expecting a different ending. Let me get out of here. Whew. I got a plane to catch. Sometimes a good thing is exactly that, a really good thing. But just because it's good, just because it feels good, it doesn't mean it's yours to have. Love is a choice, and I made mine. Hey.
Hi. You're back early.
I am.
Have a good time?
I did.
So, why did you come back early? I thought you were going to hang out with your mom after the reunion.
Because I realized that this is where I want to be. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Where can I go? What do I do? How can I show you I'm in love with you? What can I say? How to proceed without you here? My life is incomplete. No more tears from me.
Hey, I want a family hug.
So please never go away. And you are more than enough. You're more than I need, more than I hoped. You're more than I dreamed. You're all I want. You are everything. I cannot hide this love I feel. That's how I know.
Thank you so much for watching our short film, The Reunion. We did it, y'all.
Yeah!
Woo, that was some work. That was a lot of work that you saw there.
Of work.
Let's introduce ourselves. My name is Tracy Michelle Lewis Jiggets, and I am the writer and director of The Reunion.
Woo-hoo. And I am Wendy Smith, and I play Audrey.
And I'm Brandon J. McLean, and I play David.
And I'm Frank F.J. Bateman, and I played August.
And I'm Christina Faith. I'm the producer.
I'm Marquise Valdez, and I play Young August.
Awesome. Yeah, right. So, guys, so I think what most people want to know is how the reunion came about. And honestly, this was a story that's been with me for a few years. I had a conversation with my husband about what would happen if, I went back to my class reunion and ran into an old boyfriend and all of that good stuff. This guy. And then also just, I kept having these reoccurring dreams about it. And so I wrote a short story. I'm an author and a writer. So I wrote a short story, and then when I showed a couple people the short story, they were like, this is really like visual, like this could really be a film. And so I'm like, I played around with screenplays before, and just thought, you know what, I'm gonna write a script for this. And had connected with Christina Faith and Creative Thought Media, told her my idea, and you liked it.
I did. I liked the idea. It was a challenge to figure out how to flash back 20 years. So when we saw the idea, it was kind of like, okay, so how would we do this in Philadelphia when it's actually not set in Philadelphia, but to give it a vibe that was the Midwest. So that was a dope idea.
Yeah. So we came together. We had auditions.
Yeah.
Our first audition, we had like 2 people, and they was whack. I hope you're not watching. I'm sorry. Can we cut that?
There are some people, we should not cut it. There are some people that their friends should tell them this may not be for you, or you need to go to an acting class,
or you should comb your hair.
Very true. Don't just show up looking. There were some interesting characters in both auditions.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we had a second audition. We did some more promoting of the auditions, and we got a lot of folks. Actually, we had a really great
more
audition.
than we anticipated that time. Excuse me, y'all.
Yes, there was quite a few people, and these guys.
We made it. We made
Yes,
it. We
y'all
made it.
I made it.
And so we called them in and we began rehearsals in January of 2017 and then began shooting in February, right?
Yeah, we began shooting almost immediately. It was Tracy's first project and my first project producing someone else's script, which was a whole nother situation. It was very hard for me because it's like, it's not, I didn't write it or I'm not directing it, so helping her learn how to direct and learning the process was very gratifying to me to be able to walk with someone else through the process.
Oh, that's sweet.
No, it's the thing is I guess that, you know, we can talk about our first, right?
Yeah,
so this
definitely
was
first.
I've spent a bulk of my career on the page, you know, writing books and poetry and plays and publishing New Season Books.
Yeah, shout out.
www, you know. So anyway, so I've been doing a lot of, you know, writing. And so one of the things that I really learned from Christina is really trying to tell stories visually. Right, and what that looks like, and so it was a huge learning curve for me. But before we get to that, before we get to that, let's talk about what was the most kind of rewarding experience. What did we love the most? I think for me, it's exactly that. Watching you guys bring my words to life. Like I was just in tears. Like I wasn't even focusing on what I was supposed to be doing or looking at the camera with our DP, Eric, in the back that's on the cameras right now because I'm watching you guys. I'm so enthralled with hearing my words come out of your mouth. And that to me was the biggest blessing. But Wendy.
Yes.
What was most rewarding for you?
Well,
She's not really speaking like that.
For me, the most rewarding thing was being able to make you happy with every shot that I did and through rehearsals and just making sure that I brought Audrey to life and meeting everyone here as well. Because this was nice. Like, you know, Brandon, I already worked with Brandon in a prior project, but everyone else I hadn't worked with. And Christina and we used to go to college. And I walked in my audition and I saw her and I was like, oh my gosh.
She was like, I got this.
But I didn't think I had it though. Like, don't even think that. Like, it's never mixed the two. But it was nice reconnecting with her on this level because this wasn't even her thing in college at all. So that's my most rewarding thing about the whole experience.
So my most rewarding was, this is my first short, and thanks to Tracy, was working with Wendy. You know, being though this is my first short, is like, wow, I get to work with somebody that I've worked with already knew her, knew what she was about, how goofy she is and everything. So it was like, man, I feel a little bit more comfortable, you know, working with her again, and then meeting everybody else, you know, then realize that Marquise, we live right down the street from each other, you know? So, but yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
I would say my most rewarding experience was just meeting everyone and trying to my best bring my character to life and experiencing the moments, the bloopers, Wendy laughing in my face for no reason. We're recording and I mean she's approaching me and she just busts out laughing. I'm like, what happened? You know. So to just have fun doing it, I think that's the most important thing is to enjoy it, have fun, and bring the character to life. So that was very rewarding for me. Cool. Yeah.
I think for me, the most rewarding thing was being able to work with people that I could trust. I felt like everybody that I worked with, they were great. They were pleasant. Working with Wendy, it was so funny. She's a funny person.
Told you.
The rehearsals were so great, but I loved them all. And taking direction from Tracy, it was great, and it pulled me. It felt like I had a short time, but I got to maximize that time, and she really pulled that out of me, and it was great to feel like I could trust someone like that.
Yeah, Tracy.
And we had trust exercises, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Yes.
Fall into my arms.
Oh God, no.
Did y'all say no on the fall into my arms? Oh gosh, for real? It was like 8th grade.
I know, but you know, now you're older.
He ain't gonna catch me.
He ain't gonna Anything else? Anything else?
That fall is a little bit harder from 8th grade to an adult. Like,
You know
know.
what? He didn't get stronger. I would say like the most rewarding thing for me, honestly, was the process and all the mistakes that we made. It was crazy, yet it was fulfilling to see that even though we made all of these crazy mistakes that none of us even thought of, wasn't even in our visual eye. I had done projects before, but it was very different coming hands off for me. So stepping back and not being able to be like, you see that, you don't see that, you don't see that. So, but those mistakes helped me become a better producer as well as director, because I started to learn how to teach people how to direct as opposed to just doing it myself. And then I'm an editor too, which is crazy. So when I get back, me and Eric, I'm like, Eric does the editing, the assistant editing, and then I'm like, oh God, what do we do? So it was really dope being able to go to Tracy and say, okay, this is where the project is. This is kind of like what needs to happen. Don't panic, don't cry. She panicked, she cried. And I'm like, but for the audience, I think we can still pull this off for the specific audience that we're going after. So that was probably my most rewarding and gratifying thing, was learning how to teach better through failure, and learning how to catch our mistakes better. And reshooting is amazing because it helps us catch even more mistakes. So
yeah, I think, just since we're talking about mistakes,
yes,
we can talk about some of the things that were challenging. I know for me, being a first-time director, as I said earlier, there were so many times when I said the reader. You guys remember? I was like, the readers. There's but nobody is reading.
No one's reading.
And so I had to really work through in my mind how to tell a story visually.
Yeah.
Christina would say, I'm thinking, what's on the page? And Christina would say, but what's on the screen? Like what do you see? And so I took a lot for that. I mean, for instance, like there is one scene that you guys saw where Frank, August, and Wendy, Audrey are in the parking lot. And this was a scene that we had practiced, and I had this vision of him moving in on her and coming to her, and she's just standing there helpless. And, I had all of this in my head because that's what I'd written in the script. But what I didn't pay attention to was the cameras that were reflecting off his jacket.
As he came in.
So if you notice in this shot, you will see, we had to do almost what was a jump cut. Like we had to go from him coming toward her to her, then back, then her again, because we couldn't use any of that footage. And that's the crying moment, right? I'm sitting talking to, Christina, and I'm like, but we can't use any of it. And she's like, no, delete. Like she's moving through it. And I'm like, but then it for me, it was a real lesson in paying really close attention to detail in terms of lighting and angles and all those things that I wasn't familiar with. And so, that learning curve, I know for my next project that I'm going to be probably on the other side, like overly attentive to that. So I'm like looking at everything, right?
So you mean to tell me Christina is the reason why my camera time got cut?
Yes, I'll take that. Okay, so since we're talking about that, in the most lovely way I can say, Frank taught me the power of an acting coach. Especially I would say in Philadelphia, because we're in Philly, right?
Yep.
It's not like New York, it's not like Hollywood, it's not like Atlanta, where all people do is go to work, go to acting classes, go to auditions, go to work, go to acting classes, go to auditions. So if you want to be an actor in Philly, you have to work 5 times as hard to be able to get there. So what we didn't know prior to the reunion is that we could have had an acting coach on hand, because directors are not the only ones that are helping and coaching people into being better actors, because a coach can help you access feelings that we will never be able to access. So I think when we came to the editing bay, everything was getting cut that day. Let me tell you, I was like a cutting maniac, and Tracy was like, "Don't ever let anyone tell you can't edit," because I don't know what you just did, but it worked. Because I think the reality was how do we fix it?
Right.
And it wasn't even a Frank thing, a Brandon thing, a Wendy thing, a Marquise thing. It was how do we keep telling the story where it works. And honestly, we learned so much about shadows. So shadows aren't a problem. Like I was watching the Carmichael's great show. Go watch that if you haven't.
Yes,
they have shadows everywhere, right? It's not a problem when it's like in that kind of setting. But we had a reunion set actually in this room. Yep. And everything was very harsh in lighting because we were trying to light both sides at the same time. So we learned we can't do that. And if we do, we learned that if we do, you have to have like little ambient lights like hanging. So it wasn't a matter of my time is getting cut. It was a matter of how do we tell the story.
Right. And for me, it was, okay, so, and I remember calling Christina, I was like, I got an idea. We're going to fast forward, because it was what would best serve the story, right? And because, frankly, if there isn't the kind of chemistry there that I needed to see, I couldn't put it out there, and so I had to figure out we already had this, for me, in hindsight, probably over narration of Wendy's character talking over, so I just had to go with that, right, and fast forward through certain points or make those, choices and decisions. So it's not just,
it was not just you.
But speaking of chemistry, though, speaking of chemistry, for me, a challenge was the chemistry, the romantic scene, the
30,000 takes.
Like as an actor, you have to have a conversation like, you want the bottom lip or the top lip, like really,
for real. When we tell you we learned a lot.
Right. We learned a lot. You think you one take Jacob, we're gonna do this kissing or knock it out. No, you mean like 16, 17.
Take 17.
What am I doing
17
wrong?
takes.
I know. It was frustrating.
And it's funny because I'm married and I can't kiss my on-screen wife like I kiss my real wife, So it's kind of you have to balance those two, and try to figure out which way you're going to
Hence why we had all those takes.
Yeah, hence why we had all those.
Well, I'm married to it, and I would have kissed like I kissed my wife.
But so here's the thing, though.
Don't be getting me in trouble.
You got two wives.
Come on, butter up, girl.
No, but seriously, so let's talk about that, because I think a lot of actors struggle with that. As number one, if you are married or otherwise attached, and two, if you're a believer, right? We can't leave that out. So
three, if you're actually interested.
I think that brings up a good question about being married or otherwise attached or interested, I guess. How does that work when you are in these intimate scenes and you're trying to, and on top of it, maybe, you're a believer, right? So you're trying to keep the distance, but at the same time, you need to fully engage as the character. Does it detract if you don't? You just said, I didn't kiss her the way I kiss my wife, but shouldn't you though?
Well, you know what? As a believer, first, one of them things is you just got to be prayed up. You have to pray and make sure that your emotions is not getting tangled in. And I approach everything as a professional matter. Like this is a job. I'm supposed to be professional here. Do not let your emotions get into this scene. Because you have something outside of this that you don't want to. You made a vow to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but real talk. We're not talking about emotions. We're talking about body. Okay, body parts.
This is a beautiful.
You may not be emotionally attached, but this is a beautiful woman. And
this is a beautiful woman.
We had to take 17 takes, and you had to grab that John.
You asked
y'all saw that, right? Y'all saw the booty grab,
Yeah.
So how do you rein that in?
And for me, it's just for me. I like I said, I just try to keep everything professional. And I literally pray before going into these scenes, before going into anything actually, but going into these scenes, specifically for the scenes, just to make sure that My mind and my heart is really secure, knowing that this is a co-star, this is a castmate, we're going to make the best of this. We're going to make it look real. We're going to make it, you guys going to think that this is my wife, but I'm going to be as professional as I can be.
Yeah, I think you guys got there.
I appreciate that.
No, I think you guys got there, though. I mean, I definitely saw that.
After the 17th take.
17th take.
But I think part of the 17 takes was learning how to give direction of what you wanted.
True. I'll take it. I'll take that.
Yeah, once we figured out, because I think I was in the other room. And I was like, take how many? And I got up. I was like, okay, so what's wrong? And then we figured out after they did it, like, oh, okay, you have to tell them exactly what you want,
right.
and what, not just what that, you can't just say like it's your wife. You have to say exactly, do you want, like they said, the bottom lip or the top lip?
Right.
How do you want the hand held?
Yeah.
What type of emotion do you want when you do the kiss? So there's so much in just directing one itty bitty scene that may only be there for 10 seconds or less.
Yeah, and I think what I learned from that also is part of what I said earlier about paying attention, because we were all on Wendy. Wendy was getting very frustrated because we were like, we were thinking that, I was thinking that it was you, and when we looked really closely, we saw that Brandon was pulling out of the kiss too fast, and so then that was a way for me.
And I didn't want to throw him under the bus because I like Brandon. But I was ready to be like, it's not me, it's him.
So instead of me looking
I don't know how
at
to
him,
kiss.
I'm not saying whatever.
Forget
No, you
about
don't know how to kiss. But that's a part of it. Learning how to kiss longer, that it takes longer than you think.
Yeah, right.
On TV,
Well,
for sure.
Well, as y'all can see, I didn't even get a kiss.
Whatever.
you got close. You got close. You got real close.
This was like 3 months later, everybody would have got kissed. She'd have been kissing everybody.
I didn't even get one.
Good, because she
still mad
respects her
about that.
husband.
Yeah.
So what did you find to be the most challenging?
Challenging?
Yeah.
Well, this wasn't my first time being in a romantic role, but having to be, very close and personal with 3 different men and make you guys believe that I was into all these men was a challenge for me.
Hey, but they look good. It wasn't that hard, was it?
But
They was,
they do look good. Yes, they are very handsome. However, they're not mine. So there's boundaries. And as we said, 2 of which are married. So you always had that in the back of your mind, like, I don't want to disrespect anything. Yeah. I don't know what Marquise has going on, but I'm still going to be professional. And I'm not going to be like,
all
hey.
the girls.
Marquise got one girl. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, okay, just one. My bad.
So, that was definitely a challenge for me, for sure. Yeah. That boundary thing.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yep. Yes.
Oh, for me, it was playing an 18-year-old in the 90s.
Oh, yes, that too. Because Lord knows I'm not that age.
It was weird, man. I grew up, I'm not going to tell my age, but I wasn't a teenager in the 90s. I was a kid in the 90s, so I have no idea how it feels to be a teenager in the 90s.
Made us all feel young.
Yes.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
Because I was all the way grown in the 90s.
So I'm asking my brothers questions. I don't know. I just had no idea, but having a good director, it just helped me out so much that I could trust her, that I wouldn't look like a fool on camera.
Oh, but didn't we burn the back of his jacket?
Yes, we did.
Oh,
So that jacket, the reason why he never gets up off the locker is because the whole back of it is
Just
burned
straight up
out.
like this.
Because you know them the vinyl jackets, that's real thin, and we try to iron it.
We had a young girl ironing. She ain't know.
God bless her.
I forgot about that.
We love you, Stephanie.
Yeah. Burn.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, Frank?
All right. The most challenging part for me
That's what he said. He's like,
was at times it was somewhat like of a confidence issue, because it's like I've worked with several directors, and one thing about Tracy that I love is that she knew what she wanted. She knew it needed to be like that, and I became my own critic. And I started feeling like, okay, I'm not doing that good enough. I'm not projecting that well enough. And so I think that's why some of my takes had to be over because within myself, I started, looking at it saying, oh, that's not good enough, that's not good enough. So I had to kind of get over within myself and become the character. So I had to come out of Frank and become the character, become August. So I think that was some of my greatest challenge, but it also provided me with a lot of growth too. So.
And that self-talk is real. That voice is like real. That voice is really real. We don't often know what to do with it, but
absolutely. I mean, it's a great hindrance if you don't confront it.
Yeah.
Yes. And especially like for me, dealing with it from childhood, rejection, insecurities, not feeling good enough. If I never really dealt with it and stopped running from it, it would prevent me from going forward. It has prevented me from a lot of things. And so one of the challenges for me that I kind of overcame with this film was just to do it, just to ignore that voice and just do it, and not just do it, but give it everything I had, give it my best. And then sometimes looking back at it, you always find ways you can perfect yourself here and there. But you just gotta deal with the inner you sometime and just, because if you don't, people see that.
And some of that is about what we perceive as criticism. Because I've noticed with you were so much more authentic when it was one-on-one, when you were one-on-one with Wendy than when you had an audience around you. So the reunion scenes, it seems like you got nervous. And I mean, we all do that. Like for me, just the fact that this film is going to be out there with written and directed by Tracy on it, like I am because I know how shady and dirty y'all internet people can be. You right there, you about to say something crazy right now about my film, and I'm feeling some kind of way.
That's all right. Me and Marquise will find you.
Yes, you see that?
We'll find you.
But what I will say, it does make you better though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, because I know this was our second scripted project. And the first one, I heard the same criticism over and over. I'm like, y'all think I don't see that? Y'all think I didn't know that? I knew that. We tried to fix it. But I think the more you're willing to welcome the criticism as a way to grow, instead of a way of bashing yourself, because that inner voice of childhood that never knew how to deal with the critics or how to deal with the rejection that was real. It's crazy. It's crazy. Online criticism is just the devil. It really
so y'all
is.
be nice, okay?
Be nice, guys.
Be nice
We try.
to us.
We really try.
And the next time will be better.
It will.
Yeah, the
That's how
next
you
project
grow,
will be better.
It will. Oh, well, much better. Much better.
And the next time you could be sitting on this couch.
Hey,
There you go.
Come on.
You do. I understand.
Preach, Bishop.
Next time it could be you. So,
No, yeah. And it's hard. It's hard to put out a work that you love and that you're like, this is what I thought it would be. This is what I envisioned, and it's not fully what you desired. So it's hard to even give it something that you feel like it's not what you wanted, but this is what it is.
Right.
So I think it's great for its audience. I will say that. I think it's great for its audience. If you are 40
She
year
mean
old,
40 plus.
40 plus.
Okay.
Listen,
All these
Hunty,
young they talking about
A little shade.
it's not shade. Listen, demographic says 18 to 34, 34 to 40, 42, 45. If you are 40 and over and you love Waiting to Exhale, or you love the 90s movies, you'll love this movie. It has a 90s reminiscent intentionally. So that's what I thought when I was watching. I was like, oh, my mama will love this. Like, my aunt will love this.
Shade.
Listen, it's not shade.
But overall, it's still a good short overall.
It's a great film for the audience.
So why don't we just go ahead and tell everyone about what you're doing, what your next project is, and give them your social media handles so they can reach out and connect.
Awesome. So I'll start. My next project is Single and Anxious. Christina Faith is our lovely director and producer.
That's how we met.
Yeah, definitely. October 7th, that comes out, so get y'all tickets. My Facebook is Brandon McLean, and my Instagram is BrandonJ.McLean, BrandonJ.MCLEAN.
And I am Wendy Smith again. On Facebook is Wendy, WENDI Smith, and on Instagram is Wendy F. Smith. And my next project is called Him and Her. that's going to be coming out later on this fall. And then I'm also working again with the fabulous Tracy, and that's called Generational. So be on the lookout for that.
The next project I'm doing is Single and Anxious, and you can find me on Instagram, Marquise Valdez, and on Facebook, Marquise Valdez.
Next project I'm working on, I kind of like got a handful of stuff. I do music, so I do have a CD coming out, or a CD out rather.
Yes.
Have a Pandora station. You can find me Frank FJ in quotation Bateman Jr. That's my Pandora station. That is my Facebook. My Instagram is FJ2U, FJ the number 2U, FJ FJAY 2U.
That's a lot.
So that's my Pandora. I have a few films coming out. No Strings Attached is coming out. Broad's Way is coming out. And In Good Talks is coming out.
You've been working.
I've been
Working.
All right. I'm Christina Faith. You can catch me at singleandanxious.com, at singleandanxious on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. I also have a book called Single and Anxious coming out with new season's books on October 3rd. So check us out. Our premiere is October 7th, and the book comes out October 3rd. So I'll be asking for $20 from you and $10 from you. Support young Black entertainers.
Yes.
Indeed.
And Tracy Michelle Lewis Jiggets, you can reach me on Facebook and Instagram at TMLG Writer, and on Twitter at TM Lewis. As was mentioned, I'm currently in rehearsals for my second short film called Generational. I am in the process of rebranding New Season Books. So you can go to www.newseasonbooks.com. Check out Single and Anxious, the book. Check out all of our other projects that we have going on. We have 4 new books that are being released this fall, so that's
nice.
Super exciting, and so on and so on and so on. Y'all,
We working.
We working.
We really are
Yes. And TracyMLewis.com. Yeah. Okay. So thank you guys for just being family and
Thank
for
you.
just
Thank you
the
for choosing me.
awesome
Choosing
opportunity.
us.
I think that we should leave on this note. We should leave everyone with this note. The 3 words that symbolize the reunion. On a count of 3, we will say.
No.
You ready?
No.
1, 2, 3. Grab that joint!